When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink, but I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds. I love chic branding, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more.
Hear that? Yeah, that's the sound of you relaxing, because now you're managing diabetes with the Freestyle Libre 3 system. You get to know your glucose levels and where it's headed. Manage your diabetes with more confidence with the Freestyle Libre 3 system. Ready to learn more about the #1 prescribed CGM in the U.S.? Visit freestylelibre.us to learn more. Based on retail sales data for patients' last filled prescription by manufacturer. Refer to the FLAIR NL4 study published in BMJ Open Diabetes Research and Care 2019. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
This is Dr. Laurie Santos from the Happiness Lab. Many people have questions about how to improve levels of happiness. Living a healthy lifestyle is one sure way of increasing happiness. And a good place to start is with your oral health. Just a few small changes to your oral care routine, such as changing your toothpaste to Colgate Total, can lead to beneficial changes in your oral health. Colgate Total helps stop oral health problems like gingivitis and cavities before they start, because preventing oral health problems is a lot easier than treating them. Be dentist ready and get Colgate Total at shop.colgate.com/total.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Zoe.
And I'm Rodger Berman.
And you're listening to Works for Us, where we talk to people about what works for them in their relationships and, of course, what doesn't. Okay, so today's guests actually have quite a lot in common with Rodger and I. As the co-founders of the very inclusive bra and underwear company ThirdLove, Heidi Zak and David Spector know the challenges and rewards that come with sharing both a life and a business.
The innovative husband and wife team left their jobs in 2012 after Zak became passionate about offering women a better bra, one that fit perfectly, was comfortable, and made her feel confident. Now, they've combined their skill sets to create the third largest online bra and underwear company in America. Holy crap. ThirdLove has donated over $40 million worth of product to women in need. Way to go. And its success has led to Heidi and David being named the EY, I think that used to be Ernst & Young Entrepreneurs of the Year, Goldman Sachs 100 Most Intriguing Entrepreneurs, and National Retail Federation's Disruptors. Wow, quite an impressive resume. Congratulations on your massively successful business. Welcome to Works for Us, guys. We really appreciate you coming here.
I will start out by saying, obviously for Rodger and I, it's always really cool to talk to people that we either know a little bit, know a lot, some we've known like our whole life, some we've known a few years, and some we just know through other people. And we've had the good fortune of meeting you guys through our mutual friends. And we already love you.
Should we give a shout out to Rad?
We should give a shout out to Rad because I really love Rad.
Well, we know he's never going to listen to this, so...
That's not true. Rad's a little bit of like a fangirl, you know?
Oh, I like the way you use fangirl in the description of Rad.
I don't ever hear fanboy. I mean, you say fangirl, right?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, we're gonna move
Anyway,
on.
we love Rad, and we love Rad for introducing us. Oh my God, I said that. Ew, that was like a dad joke. Anyway, but we do like to start at the very, very beginning, just because, for Rodger and I, it's always really cool to meet other couples that obviously work together, parent together, husband and wife together, CEO together, all of the things, because I think that's the thing we get asked the most, which is actually why we started Works for Us, because it was literally like, how on earth do you not kill each other? Do you not hate each other? How does that work? How does that even possible? So for me personally, I don't want to speak for Rodger, but it's very cool to always meet another couple that is doing the same thing. So welcome. We're very excited to have you guys.
For our listeners who don't know,
you want to tell them why they're here?
They started this insane bra company called ThirdLove that is like all based on form fitting and finding the perfect bra.
Is it weird to hear you talk about that?
Oh, I asked Dave the same thing. Like, how does it feel like just
I think
be
for
like,
him,
your
it's like talking
fittings-
about chewing gum.
Yeah, but like your fittings are literally like women in lingerie.
I think the bigger question that Dave might have for you is growing up as the husband of a stylist, doing fittings in our homes all day, every day, in our studios, in our apartments, in our,
Rodger, we're cut from the same cloth.
That
We really
exactly.
And I think it comes back to, just to ground us all here, I think it comes back for this mutual respect that Rodger and I both have for strong women.
Yes.
And I think that is what makes a relationship like this work.
I agree.
Is you have to like I think it's awesome that my wife is badass and runs this awesome company. And like, I think that's really cool. There's a lot of men out there that don't think that's cool and they want a different style of relationship or wife. And I think Rodger and I really are cut from the same cloth because we love that about our wives. We want that.
I agree.
I think it's important for our listeners to understand, like, how did you meet and how did it become like Heidi and Dave, and how did it go from like you guys being together to then being like, hey, let's start like an insane brand that's going to change the way
I think
women...
what you're asking is, let's hear the origin story.
Well, we were in grad school at business school. We were at the time both dating other people.
Well, we didn't know each other. We met at a karaoke bar. And then, as luck would have it, coming back to school the next semester, I was really late to a class. I ended up in the front row in front of the professor, worst seat you can possibly have. And I was late. And I'm sitting there being like, fuck, I'm going to be stuck in the seat the whole semester because that's where you get to sit. And then maybe a minute later, the door slams and somebody's later than I am. And I glance up and it's Dave. And there's one empty seat in the whole room of 100 and it's right next to me in the front row. So that was his opportunity to ask me on a date to go skiing. And he's like, oh, we should all get together. Let's go skiing. And I'm like, that sounds awesome. Like, I love to ski. So the day before we're going skiing, he like texts me and he's like, oh yeah, like nobody else could come. And I'm like, nobody else could. I thought this was like
the same story.
Wow.
No way.
The missing people from the date every single episode.
No, it really is, you guys. This is the common thread. Wait, let them finish.
Keep going.
So basically I obviously was interested enough that I'm like, okay, fine. So we ended up going on a ski date to Mount Snow. That was our first date. And it all worked itself out. And basically that was kind of the beginning of the beginning or the beginning of the end. One way or another. But yeah, that's how it worked.
So the truth is that the common thread that we have seen is that there was a date that was almost like not necessarily a happy accident, but there were circumstances that were like people didn't show up. It was basically a happy accident, in a lot of cases. And then we also hear it's sort of like the date that doesn't end. It's like you can't stop talking, you can't stop being together, you can't
Like you get home from the ski area at like
and
5
like, wanna have
o'clock or
dinner?
6 o'clock, and you're like,
Wanna
well,
have
are we
drinks?
gonna have dinner now?
Basically that's how that day
Yeah,
went
exactly.
down.
And it's like, that's nice. How about some coffee? You just kind of like, it's not necessarily physical. It's like getting to know each other. You get really excited by that and just kind of wanted to keep going. And that is the theme we've seen for people who are, still
in
together.
successful relationships.
In successful relationships.
Which means you guys still...
You have a chance. You check a box. You check a very important box. So go on. So then you started dating, I guess. At that point, did you break up from your significant others?
Clearly.
Yeah, we broke up. I was living with him. I moved out. He broke up with his girlfriend. And all this kind of happened at the same time we started dating. And then, we had living our best lives, traveling, doing all the things. Moved to
without
New York
children, like live your best life, move all over the place.
No dog.
And triathlons. And we moved to New York City. And
did you say travel and triathlons?
She did.
We did an Ironman together.
Of course you did.
2012.
Of course you did.
So
of course you did.
We did a lot of crazy shit together.
Dave, you did that too?
I actually was the one that got Heidi into it. I've done more triathlons than she has.
Okay, because I was pregnant a bunch over the past 8 years of my life. But besides that,
Come on, you could have done it.
Did more. I ran a half marathon when I was 6 months pregnant. So
she did.
Even good.
Oh my God.
I'm sitting here stunned in silence just because I heard the word
triathlon
and fun or something.
Because Raj and I are like, oh my God.
Same word. Like, wait, we have no kids. Let's train.
Like,
I'm like, Rach, we got no kids. Let's
go to St. Bart's. Let's go to the South of
drink.
France.
This is amazing.
We were like, when you said travel and triathlons.
I'm just sitting here and stuff.
Roger and I, you guys for 18 years basically worked and like danced on tables and traveled to like ridiculous places without any responsibility other than to ourselves. But okay, so you have 3 kids, ages two kids. Okay,
2.
so
I tried to convince Heidi to have a third.
Also true.
Yeah,
we have a daughter who's 8 and a little guy who's 5 in kindergarten.
Oh,
so
that's
cute.
the best.
5 and 8, such great ages.
I love 5 and 8.
So.
But I have a question. So, okay, so you met in business school. You obviously went on to do like your own careers first, right?
Yeah. So I was at Aeropostale in New York, so working for a big retail company. Dave was at Google. This is, a long
2007.
time ago. This is 2007. And then we got engaged and married in 2009. And then Dave had a job opportunity to work at Sequoia Capital out on the West Coast. And so we were young, like newlyweds, and we're like, yeah, we're just going to pick up and move for a few years. We'll probably move back to New York. We love New York, but we like doing triathlons and all this stuff outside. And we're like, San Fran sounds like a great place. So we picked up and moved. And then kind of the rest is history. That was 2010. So, then it was kids and the company and all the things. So we ended up leaving our jobs out here and then starting ThirdLove in 2012.
Wow, 2 years after you hit the ground.
I think it's important that people understand, like, what was the thing that you were like, I need to now leave everything, drop everything and start this because it's terrifying. And I think like being an entrepreneur, I think we can all agree it's like the highs are the high, the low is the low. It's all terrifying, but incredibly rewarding. There's all these different things. But I think it's important that our listeners hear what it was that was the impetus for ThirdLove, because I think it's important.
I think at a macro level, there isn't sort of one thing. And this is like high level on just starting a company, right? I think you have an idea, the person you trust the most, hopefully for listeners and other people out there, the person you trust the most is your spouse, your significant other, the person you spend the most amount of time with. You spend a lot of time talking about it, dreaming about it, discussing it, debating it, being told by your spouse, hopefully, if you have a good enough relationship, being told that's a bad idea, but which is good. That's healthy. It's a bad idea.
I do it all the time.
Tell me why. Let's break it down. It's a bad idea. Why is it a bad idea? How would we modify it? And then you just keep going and iterating on it. Just at there's no DAC. I think everybody thinks that in the world that we live in, our company of our size or whatever, that it is so formalized, and it's just not. And it's not for whether you're a spouse working together or just co-founders. You're 2 people that work together currently at a big company. You have this idea on the side, you get coffee and drinks together and you keep just debating ideas. And just eventually, I think the healthiest relationships from a co-founding perspective, and I'm an angel investor in 24 companies, always end up being something that's very organic.
Right. 100%.
It isn't like, hey, so-and-so friend or spouse, let's start a company together. It just kind of happens. And I think in our case, we were debating this idea for so long and iterating on it that we eventually just kind of had a company. Like, and that's not in the formalized sense. It wasn't like we were,
of course.
We had set up an LLC or an S Corp or C Corp or whatever. Like, it was just like, we already had this thing cooking, and I was outreaching to people on LinkedIn. Heidi was trying to find to join us in this crazy idea. And then Heidi was sort of trying to find manufacturing partners and like looking into what that would be like and how we get started and get this thing off the ground.
But I want to clear up, Dave, for our listeners, had the idea of what? Like, what? Yeah. You were iterating, but like there was a particular thing that kicked Heidi from my conversation with Heidi and just from reading about the story of ThirdLove, is that you had a mission behind building ThirdLove and what it would mean to women around the world.
Yeah. So I think at the time we were both looking to leave our jobs because neither of us he didn't want to be, investing for the rest of his life. And I was at Google and I didn't want to be there forever. And so we had a real reason to be thinking about ideas. I had shopped at Victoria's Secret for my whole basically life. And I went to a VS store down in Mountain View and I was working at Google. And I literally had a reaction to that shopping experience where I was like, why am I in the store? Like the pink, the velour, the 16-year-old with the measuring tape around her neck, all the things, right? And I'm like, what am I doing? And I walked out and I was like, this is ridiculous that I drove to the mall. I'm here, all these things. And I'm like, why can't I buy a bra online? Why isn't there a brand that what I say speaks to the modern woman? Why aren't there more sizes than just these standard sizes in a store? So I was like, obviously someone's figured this out. And when I went home and I started doing research, there was nothing. There were no online bra brands at the time. Let's be clear. So this is 2012. D2C wasn't a term. This world didn't exist that we live in today. And I turned to Dave and I was like, I think I have the idea. And now I'm not expecting him to do it with me. I'm just like having my idea on the side. And I'm like, a bra brand, an online bra brand. And he's like, what? Like, what are you talking about? You're like, you don't even like bras. You're not into bra, like all the things. I started telling him, all these things, and he started doing research. And then he eventually came around to the USB idea.
And actually, interestingly, we were hiking to Everest base camp.
Like Mount Everest?
Yes.
Like
we went
to
Nepal, on the Nepal side, not the Chinese side.
This
we were
is just
hiking
like
to the base camp of Everest.
This is, by the way, you guys, we were
You guys did the same thing, right?
We're
Yeah,
we're like kindred souls.
We went to Earth Cafe once. We walked there.
I walked up our street the other
you
day
did walk.
with Goldie. I was so tired.
Well, the first thing we'd have to do is buy Rachel a pair of sneakers because she doesn't own a pair of sneakers.
Okay, I don't even think you hike in sneakers. I think you have to wear like the boot things.
Boot things? Yeah, we need boot things first.
So it's so funny. So when you're on like this is like a 10-day expedition hike thing, you just have a lot of free time to talk about stuff. And we were debating different ideas and concepts and different things that we would start. And the initial sort of seed of this idea came from there. And I of course can't relate to the market in the same way that a woman can. But at the same time, what excites me is building things that have an impact on a very large percentage of the world, right? And so the example I always use, that 100% of the world drinks water, right? And 50% of the world wears some shape or form of a bra and of underwear, right? And so this is a challenge and certainly a problem given the retail environment that this market mostly was in. Very small single-digit percentages then were bought online when we were starting this company. And so it seemed like the world was moving in this direction that we needed to be on, and that the incumbent players were outdated, antiquated in their sizing, antiquated in
their
how
messaging.
They speak to women.
Yeah.
Yes. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Jinx.
Speak to women. And I thought that it seemed clear to me, again, being on the outside, looking at it very objectively, that there was three things that we could do. And again, it was crazy because at the time, the largest player in the market had incredible market cap and was doing very, very well. Nobody could foresee what would happen to them over time. But there were three things that I thought we could do differently. One is build really, really high quality product that actually fits women, using the best materials, not focusing on gross margin and bottom line initially, which we knew we could get to over time with scale. Manufacturing in this industry is very complicated. So it was that. So building great product with a lot more sizes. So the typical store in this country brand has about 30 sizes. We generally have about double that. So we can serve a much wider, more diverse range of women. Two was building a way to buy this online. So that could allow a woman to comfortably and securely not have to go into a store, which is an awkward experience for all women. And it's just not fun. And we saw we didn't see all the writing on the wall. We certainly didn't see a pandemic, but it was obvious that the world and where the puck was moving towards was an online world for every category out there in some shape or form. Retail is never going to go away, but it's changing and evolving, and online is going to be a huge part of the mix. And then lastly, it was building a authentic brand that actually was started by a woman, that came from women and like empowered, strong women, not angels, not supermodels, and women that were extremely diverse, right? By not only ethnicity, but also body type and size, etc.
One of the most effective ways to look instantly chic is to have gorgeous eyewear that complements your face. Glasses and sunglasses are kind of like fragrances in the way that they either work or don't work, depending on the individual. But that's why I absolutely love Warby Parker. Warby Parker was founded with a rebellious spirit and a very lofty goal to create boutique quality eyewear at a revolutionary price point, offering eyeglasses, sunglasses, contact lenses, and eye exams. Warby Parker is committed to providing exceptional vision care online and in stores. Their easy and fun online quiz and home try-on kit allow you to order 5 pairs of glasses to try on for free for 5 full days with no obligation to buy. It doesn't feel real, but it actually is. I've done it myself, and it's amazing. I took the quiz to help me find a new pair of sunglasses, and after mentioning my face shape and preferences, I was shown a curated selection of glasses that were just right for me. I absolutely fell in love with the Aubrey frames in marzipan tortoiseshell, and I'm so excited to pair them with all of my fall daytime looks. They have a glamorous square shape that's slightly oversized, which is definitely how I prefer my sunglasses. And if you have FSA or HSA dollars, don't let them go to waste. You can put them to excellent use on gorgeous Warby Parker prescription glasses, prescription sunglasses, contact lenses, and eye exams. Warby Parker is committed to providing exceptional vision care online and in stores, offering eyeglasses, sunglasses, eye exams, and contact lenses. Glasses start at $95, including prescription lenses. Try Warby Parker's free home try-on program. Order 5 pairs of glasses to try at home for free for 5 days. There's no obligation to buy. Ships free and includes a prepaid return shipping label. I mean, how easy is that? The work is done for you. It honestly could not be easier. Try 5 pairs of glasses at home for free at warbyparker.com/Zoe. That's warbyparker.com/Zoe. Balancing a busy schedule and prioritizing nutritious eating for my family is a daily struggle for me. But since I've been using HelloFresh, making nutritious, delicious meals that are Skylar and Caius approved is easier than ever. With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients and delicious seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. You can skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. I'm telling you, now that fall is upon us, HelloFresh has the most delicious fall-inspired recipes that you simply have to try. Count on seasonal recipes like pumpkin cinnamon rolls and Friendsgiving-ready sides, as well as fresh, high-quality ingredients that travel from the farm to your front door in less than a week. I love their seasonal ingredients and have been loving the fall recipes so much. The boys are so excited for Halloween and Thanksgiving, and it's been so great to get in the spirit by having delicious fall dishes every single night from HelloFresh. And if you have dietary restrictions that you need to adhere to, HelloFresh has you covered. They offer 50 menu and market items to choose from every week, including vegetarian, calorie smart, and gourmet options, providing plenty of variety. And I have very picky eaters. And having lots of choices is what really makes HelloFresh so fun. They have all these delicious creative meal ideas that I honestly would never have thought of on my own. And if you've heard me mention my love of Green Chef before, it's because I love both Green Chef and HelloFresh. But Green Chef is now owned by HelloFresh, and with a wider array of meal plans to choose from, there's something for everyone. I love switching between the brands, and now my listeners can enjoy both brands at a discount with me. So go to HelloFresh.com/14Zoe and use code 14Zoe for up to 14 free meals, including free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/14Zoe using promo code 14Zoe. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Yep. No, it's so true. And you're 100%, well, obviously spot on. And I can just say it with my experience as a stylist, I can tell you firsthand that 90% of women that I worked with had the wrong undergarments, bras, underwear, literally everything. It was just wrong on all accounts. And it was crazy. And I used to be like, I don't understand why nobody is getting this right. This seems so obvious. Like it not obvious, but the need for it was so obvious, right? And so when I learned about ThirdLove and started really digging in deeply to ThirdLove, and like Heidi, I'm not this huge like bra consumer, so to speak. It is a whole thing, and it's a whole world that is not discussed enough, and that once you like open it, it's the craziest. It's like Pandora's box of disaster. And I think that ThirdLove has been such an incredible solution in so many ways, and the product is so good. And I say that from experience. I say that because everyone I talk to has actually heard of it, which is a huge thing. And by the way, what I feel like is so interesting is like my niece, who's 21, was like, when I told her when I got my first ThirdLove product, she was like, wait, is that ThirdLove? I'm obsessed with ThirdLove. And it was this whole thing. And I was like, really? Tell me more. And I started like interviewing her, and like everyone, all her friends, they love it. So I think for me, it's all about product, right? Like I love a brand, and I love knowing there's a female behind it. I love the message. And Heidi, when we first spoke, we talked about how our messages behind our brands were so aligned, and that was an immediate connection. But then when I actually started like wearing the product, digging into the product, using the product, talking about the product, I was like, wow, it's really, really good. The quality is really, really good. And it does hit something that doesn't exist. And I love, Dave, that you are behind Heidi. I say behind, next to, behind. Well, I think Dave, sometimes,
no,
Dave, sometimes behind, sometimes next to.
Oh, it's like he's the man behind the woman behind the man, like I am. So
you guys, I really actually, I love that this all happened at Mount Everest, actually. We can't share that same story. So we are different in that sense. You guys, I really envy you. I'm just saying. But you guys, I have a question. What's been like the highlight of working together? And like, quite honestly, the low, like the low light of like, what's the high and the low, if you could say, if there is one?
Well, I think two things, working together and then also of the business itself.
Well, I think that I'll start with the highlight, Heidi. I think that the highlight is seeing her evolve as a professional and sort of come into her own in so many different ways that you would never have if you were still at a large company. I say that like, that's not just me saying that, because we've had this, semi-successful company. We've got a long way to go before we can, claim success.
Can I correct that? It's very successful. Your company is very successful.
No, but you're like,
it's day one.
It's like, typical
CEOs, by the way.
Story hasn't been written.
And actually, I would say, as a side note, before I forget, like one of the lowlights generally is that when you're running a company, it's never good enough.
It's true.
Right. So like, there's so many, like, it looks like it's this success, like so many of these companies do. But my God, there's like everything's falling apart.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what we were saying today. It's like, why can't we get the simplest things done? Like this has to get done. Oh my God, we're just having this conversation.
It's always nice. The funny thing, Rachel, that you said is that like, oh, it's so successful and blah. And it's like literally we've come to this place now where like that goes in one ear and out the other.
By the way, same, because every day we're asked, oh my God, you've built this and this and this, and you have 18 this and success, and what does it look like? And I'm like, I don't even know. Like, it's not, you don't really think about that on a daily. It's sort of like, I think as entrepreneurs, and I think, Dave, that's a really, really good point for our listeners, because it's something we get asked a lot. Like, as entrepreneurs, like, oh my God, but you get to work for yourself. It's like, yes. And that means you work 10,000 times harder. You never shut down. You're talking about it in your sleep. You're thinking about it before you go to sleep. When you wake up, it puts you to sleep and wakes you up. You're talking about it at every meal. You have to actually try really hard to not think about it and not talk about it. And I think that, to your point, there is a measure of success that varies from person to person, right? But as I sit here as an entrepreneur, I can tell you that ThirdLove is a success, right? It is. I'm telling you, whether you measure it or how you measure it, it may have not even scratched the surface of what it's going to be. But I can tell you on the outside, it's already a success. And because I can tell you how many people know and love the brand. And brand awareness is actually one of the hardest parts of building a brand. And so I can tell you that there are successes from the inside that's up to you. And like what it becomes, that's up to you. But I think ultimately I can tell you that it already is a success on some level.
My business partner and I he used to say this all the time, outside looking in.
Right.
And outside looking in means
well, they know.
People are only seeing what you're putting out there and what you're presenting. The inside is your own business. Do you know what I mean? But it's outside looking in. So always make sure that that viewpoint is perfect, and then get your act together inside. Anyway, it was like a whole, but he's always says that outside looking in.
I think it's the typical analogy of, the duck that looks calm on the top of the water and underneath is like paddling like crazy, like frenetic. And that's really like what we do every day. So there's, how you appear to your company, and then there's how you sometimes feel. And that's called being a founder. But I think for me, like the moment where it was like, we're real, like ThirdLove is on the map, was when we put the open letter out to Victoria's Secret. And when we said, we have an alternate view of the world, when there was a back and forth in an article in Vogue that was like, we're nobody's third love, we're women's first love. It's like, wow, the big guy is talking about us. Yeah. And that means that
you're in the
we're
conversation.
On the map now.
Exactly my point.
What does ThirdLove mean? There's got to be a story.
Yeah, it was creating a third love, a third option for women. So if you think about the bra market, there's always been this idea that you could have a comfortable bra, but it wasn't pretty, or you could have a sexy, beautiful bra, but the lace was itchy. And we're like, no, you can have both. Like every lace bra we have is beautiful and comfortable. It's this idea that it couldn't be both, we'll create it, or that you're a B cup or a C cup. No, we're going to create a B.5. So this idea that we'll create a third love, a third option for women that's like outside of the traditional box of what existed in the market. And again, in 2012, inclusivity wasn't a term that people used, right? It wasn't the norm.
I mean, I just thought it was named for the men, that it's their third love.
Yes, that's exactly what ThirdLove was named for.
I'm glad you clarified
Talking to Heidi and Dave right now, you can clearly see.
It for me and everyone else, that might have been wrong.
I'm glad I did too.
So we know the lowlights, Dave. I think we know the lowlights is how flipping hard it is. But like being in business together, the challenge is, I have a feeling I know what it is, but I think what's the low light of working together if there is one?
I think the hardest thing is when it's bad, it impacts your personal life. I'm sure you guys have experienced this yourself, right? Because you bring it home and you obsess about it and you talk about it, and it creeps into your personal life.
It's all-encompassing.
And it's very, very, And so it's like the highs are great because you're experiencing them together. I always say that the highs are high, the lows are low, and the lows are extra low when it's your house and it's your family and it's everything you talk
also
about.
When it's your dual income, right?
Also
because Rach and I for many years, like I always say that there's no one else past us. That's it. Like we got to make the payroll. Like it's us.
So the fears are shared together and the highs are the highest. And that's kind of the beautiful thing.
I think so.
But here's what I have to say to that. If you weren't working together, okay, the difference is dual income. Okay, that's the only differentiator. But ultimately, I know with us, we're one and the same person. So like even when we had separate jobs, if I was going through something or he was going through something, I was down with him. Right? Because he would bring it home, I would bring it home. So no matter what, you're going through it together on an emotional level, right? Obviously on a financial level, once you have kids and homes and this and that, it's more terrifying, and 1 million employees. It's like a whole different layer. But I do think in the simple emotional like viewpoint, I think it's the same because you're sharing it, you're doing it together, you're going through it together. But I would say like, okay, so what's the best part? Because
I have a question, and it's something I think about a lot, and it's something that you guys probably have thought about because it seems like you think a lot. So, if you weren't working together, you're obviously pretty career-driven people. I would imagine. Very. You're kind of type A. Just saying, like you would be working a lot. You would be working a lot. Do you ever think about what it would be like if like you didn't have this business together? Like for me, I feel like I'm so much closer to my wife because we're doing so much stuff together.
We don't live separate lives.
And if I was like, oh, I got to go to this conference to do this alone and then I just come back for the week, I feel like the relationship would be different. I don't know how to imagine it differently. But you ever think about that?
Yeah, I think that it starts off, and this is obvious, but it starts off with really liking your spouse. So I say that like with the utmost respect, because unfortunately there are a lot of people that aren't in the position that the four of us are in. And we're very, very lucky that we really, really like our spouse and respect our spouse and want to spend a lot of time with our spouse. So I totally agree. The conference mention is a good one because it's fun to do business trips together because it's like,
just
it's
roll
like
together. Yeah. Just roll together.
And so I think that, we like spending time together. I think we really appreciate each other and we have a shared interest in sort of business and building things. And so we have a lot of stuff to talk about outside of just the normal kid stuff. And like, that's a good thing and a bad thing because then we end up talking about stuff all the time. The thing that I would add earlier is people often ask us, do you guys have rules at home? I'm sure you get this all the time. Oh, do you have to shut it off after 6 or whatever? And my answer is if you're creating rules, you're probably going to fail. Because if you had a normal co-founder in a high growth scenario, you wouldn't shut it off. You'd be talking to him or her at 7, 8, 9, 10 midnight all the time. So yes, it's just more convenient. I don't have to pick up the phone or FaceTime or whatever with my co-founder because I can just lean over and she's right there. But if I'm building a successful business, I would be doing that with a co-founder who might be across the country or across the city or whatever, because that is how we're going to build a big business together. And so there are no rules. Don't create rules because it won't lead to success.
I agree with that. I do agree with that because I can't shut it off. But
I just tell her not talking about it.
But it's funny because Rodger can turn it on and off, meaning there are times where we'll talk about it till midnight, 1 a.m. Like Curator was literally born at 2 a.m. That was like Rodger's thing. Like he was literally standing there. I remember seeing almost like this silhouette of him. He's like, babe, okay, hear me out. Like it was this whole, and I remember like we were like in our last house and I remember looking at him like, what? It was so, and then literally the next day we brought our team in, the Zoe Report at the time. And like, we brought some of our team in and like shared the idea and they're like, and started ideating what was then Box of Style, now Curator, but it became a thing. And I think that for me, one of the highlights about what we do and working together and it stopping at us is you can create anything, any idea you have, you are in control of creating that idea.
Well, I think that it becomes...
I don't like turning it off. He does because sometimes at night he's like, literally my brain hurts and I can't.
I think what it is I think ultimately, and Dave, you're probably the same way. It's like ultimately, even though I'm sure people will say, Dave, you're not creative. You're a finance guy. You understand the margin, like whatever. And people say that about me. But the point is
in that voice.
No, but there's a big part of like business creativity. Like there's like a whole creative field of like business creativity. You know what I mean? It's like, yes, I don't draw pictures.
No, but to be an entrepreneur, you're creative.
But I understand how like to create a product or something that will like people might enjoy or pay money for. So it's a whole different.
To be an entrepreneur, you actually have to be creative on some level. There's different types
and Rodger,
of creativity.
you and I are the same because I think much more so than at least my wife, I'll speak for Heidi. I walk through the world and look at what's wrong. I look at lines, like let's just like TSA lines or whatever. And I'm like, why do I have to go in a circle like this and this? And I can just literally, and I just pick up the thing and I just go through because I want to help out everybody else behind me. And there's no line. So people don't waste their time to do that. Like I look at the world and I'm like, okay, if I need to get around the circle, right? It's a circle. Most people walk through life and go around the circle and follow the rules to get there. And I look at it and say, how do I go across the circle?
I'm very much like you.
So, and I know and that's why we get along so well. And Heidi, at least, is she's much more sort of operational and organized and looks at the world in a more rational way, because obviously you shouldn't always cut across the circle.
I cut across, Dave. I fully cut across the circle.
I'm a little both. That's a thing. I'm very like...
I'm actually more like you, Dave. The last 2 years have been full of change for everyone on the planet, but as we all know, change can be incredibly difficult to deal with. Even small changes can really throw me off. I don't know about you. The boys going from homeschooling to a new school this year has been a really big adjustment. I already don't get enough sleep, so waking up at the crack of dawn to get them ready and out the door has been a real struggle. But whatever you're going through, Talking to a professional who can help you manage your stress is essential. And if you're looking for a great online therapy option, I cannot recommend Talkspace enough. They'll pair you with a therapist who is right for your needs, who can help you process significant life changes and anything else that may be overwhelming you. Truly, there isn't an easier option than Talkspace. Talkspace works around your schedule at your convenience with live video sessions and unlimited messages with your dedicated therapist. Getting matched with a licensed professional therapist who will always keep your information secure and safe is no longer a chore thanks to Talkspace. You can set goals with your Talkspace therapist and develop techniques to cope in difficult times. And honestly, that's how therapy has always benefited me the most, by offering me tools so that I can manage what overwhelms me with greater ease. If you need a little support to help you through the end of the year or want to start building towards a better upcoming year, Talkspace is here to help. Match with a licensed therapist when you go to Talkspace.com and get $100 off your first month with the promo code ZOE. That's $100 off when you use code ZOE at Talkspace.com. I love Rodger and my boys with all my heart, and I definitely don't want to lose sleep worrying about their safety all the time. Making sure your home is secure is so incredibly important, and that's why I'm such a huge fan of Simply Safe. Simply Safe is the incredible security system that U.S. News & World Report has named Best Home Security System of 2021. And because they're always trying to make their already fantastic system even better, they just launched their new wireless outdoor security camera. This brand new outdoor security camera is engineered with all the advanced tech and security features you want and need to help keep you and your family safe. Who wouldn't want that? It has an ultra-wide 140-degree field of view and 1080p HD resolution with an 8x zoom. That means you can keep watch over your entire yard and zoom in to clearly see things like faces and license plates to capture critical evidence. It has a built-in spotlight with color night vision, so you can keep an eye on what's going on day and night. It's super simple to set up and usually takes just minutes. And it has an easy-to-remove rechargeable battery, so it doesn't need an outlet and can go anywhere on your property. This camera has it all, and it integrates with your Simply Safe home security system, extending its protection to the outside. Together, it means every door, window, and room are protected, and now your property will be too. To learn more about the exciting new Simply Safe wireless outdoor security camera, visit simplysafe.com/Zoe. What's more, Simply Safe is celebrating this new camera by offering 20% off your entire new system and your first month of monitoring service free when you enroll in interactive monitoring. Again, that's simplysafe.com/Zoe. Okay, so you guys, I have a question. Where do you picture your life and ThirdLove? And where, like, do you ever think about where are we in 5 years? Where are we in 10 years? Where are we in 20 years? Or don't you plan like that? Because I don't. But some people do.
I think it's really hard to do that because
I do too.
It's like, you know, especially when you're running a business and have kids and have crazy things going on just in your personal life. Everybody has a lot of stuff going on in their life. And so I feel like it's very hard for anybody these days to really be able to think about what's my 5-year plan or where am I going to be. I also think it's a little bit unhealthy because it's impossible to predict where the world's going to be. And I don't think anybody in 2016 was putting together a 5-year plan and thinking about how there's going to be a pandemic in 2021. And so 2020 to 2021. So I think that it's a little bit unhealthy. We don't really do it. We probably should do it more as a couple or as business owners.
I don't know. I'm not a believer.
To fight today, you know?
Since I've been seeing
question.
a therapist, though, because I'm new to therapy, it's awesome.
He is new to therapy.
So check this out. I believe
I'm not in therapy. Just saying.
I believe in that.
This is my therapy. Works for us.
No, but you know when you're supposed to, you know, your golf shot, you're like, okay, I'm going to turn it there, and it's going to land there, and hopefully it's like within that range, right? I sort of sat down and said, like, what's making me happy? Like what I do with work. What's not making me happy? What do I want to spend more time doing, less time doing? And I'm sort of trying to move over, we'll call it a 3 to 5 year plan. And it's kind of happening like in a weird way, like that's getting taken care of, moving on. Like, so I don't know.
I actually think something.
I'm not saying I know what I'm going to do in 20 years, but at least Like there's I don't know. I'm marching somewhere.
You're more of a planner. You're a planner.
I'm not really.
That's what I was going to say.
He's not,
No.
but I think he's trying to gain clarity.
What I realize is that, lack of clarity is actually the biggest stressor. It's like, am I going to go to jail? Like, that's the biggest stress. Like, once you're going to jail, you're like, well, I'm going to fucking jail. How am I dealing with it?
Do you worry about that, Rodger?
No, I've never, knock on wood, I've never been arrested my whole life, by the way.
Not right now.
No, but I'm being honest.
For the record.
No, that's the thing. I'm actually.
No, he's like the most honest. That he couldn't tell a lie. You guys, he's the guy that like, if someone calls and you don't want to talk to them, he won't even do the white lie. He'll actually pick up the phone. He's the guy that picks up the phone for the solicitor and talks to them for 10 minutes because he feels bad. Babe, they're doing their job. They're just doing their job.
No reason
I'm like,
to be rude.
Well, I just feel
Sometimes
like it's a bad
if they have
timing.
a good pitch, I'm like, wow, that's a good one. I
I've done that
commend
before
them.
too, Rodger.
He's incredibly honest and
It's
good.
a hard job.
He's not the most patient, but he is as good as it gets in terms of actual like moral code and compass. But
All right, so I think it's time to get to the game show portion of our program. And well, no, it's just like we won't.
It's just 3 quick questions, a little bit newlywed
Are we
style,
gonna do
but I
3 or
kind of
5?
already know.
I have a couple of good ones. I actually want to. These are the good ones.
Can I
that
just
want.
ask my favorite?
You can ask your favorite, and then I'm going to ask a couple too.
All right, Heidi, what's Dave getting arrested for? If he's getting arrested,
Oh my God. What are you getting arrested for? Not breaking some rule. For example, we got our car locked in our new building because we didn't know the garage shut down at 7 p.m. last night. We walked out at 7:30 from this new office building. And I'm like, holy shit, our car is stuck down here and we can't get it out. So he goes over and is trying to like roll up the door to drive our car out. And I'm like, stop, the police are going to come.
see,
So
me and Dave.
like that.
Dave, I see you. I see you. I do. I'm you. You're me. Dave, what's Heidi getting arrested for?
Yeah, you have to
That's
answer
a
for
really
her.
hard one.
Like nothing.
That's a really,
Heidi
really
seems like
hard
a
one. See, I'm
real
not.
rule follower.
Wow.
No, she is.
She's perfect, huh?
I'm not getting arrested.
She is
Nothing?
getting arrested for leaving for.
Are you a terrible
probably-
driver?
She has left the keys in our car before, and the car has been stolen once as a result of that. So she is not. That's a story that has not been told to almost anybody. But here we go.
So long story short is she'll be arrested for child endangerment because she'll leave the car running and the kids will start
Yes.
driving around the neighborhood.
Dave, not to sidetrack or anything, but you obviously get Jeremy Piven, right?
No, Rachel, stop with the question. That was my next question.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Such Jeremy Piven
Because,
vibes.
well, let's see if that's what Heidi agrees
Oops.
with. So Heidi, who would play Mr. Spector in his role, his big debut movie?
I already know.
Who would play him? Because our listeners don't see you. So they want to get an image. Like, who's the actor?
I already answered that. It's Jeremy Piven.
Rachel.
Sorry.
Is that what Heidi thinks?
I literally wouldn't know. I would have to go. I mean, that's a hard one because I'm thinking like looks and the person, like the ability to be the personality. I don't know. Yeah, no, it's a good one. What do you think?
For you, I don't know. Who's that actress that you always get compared to?
Young,
I don't know.
Young Meg Ryan.
Maybe.
Okay, last question, you guys. Last question. Okay,
No, I want to ask the other one.
Oh no.
What is Dave's most repeated sentence or phrase?
I got it.
I
like
got
I
it.
got it. I
Wow.
got it.
A man of true, I got it, babe. Wow. I didn't know you were
Then
so
let me tell you,
masculine.
He says, I got it when he's playing pickleball. He says, I got it when he's fixing the internet, Rachel, which you'll love when he's in the internet closet last night, which is why we were late, which is why our car got locked. in there, because he's sitting there
Amazing.
Fixing wires going, I got it. I'm like,
I like to
really?
fix things
You
myself.
got it? I don't know.
Judging
You got
from
it?
the amazing internet speed today that we experienced at the beginning of our podcast,
Maybe you don't
I would
got it.
say, Dave, maybe you don't got it.
That
Okay.
is not my fault.
All right, Dave, what's
Okay,
Heidi's?
Dave, what
What's
would
Heidi's?
Heidi's most prevalent word be?
Phrase.
Phrase, sorry.
Get ready. She's always pushing people because everybody's running late or late for school or not. And it's just like constantly, it's like, get ready,
Hurry up,
get this,
get ready.
get that,
Yep.
get out of bed.
Heidi,
Get out
I
of
think
bed.
that's a
You're-
working mom thing. I do that starting at 6. I literally at 6. And then at 7, you've been so good. I can't say it now, but in our old school, like they had to be there at 8:30 and they were late. Literally at one point, the tardies were so
Well,
bad.
Truth be told,
and I
there was
literally
I
said
didn't
to
know what
Rodger,
time
like,
school started. Truth be told,
What?
I was like, for the first semester at the new school, I just thought it was 8:45, not 8:30. So we wound up getting like 32 tardies in a row. But I didn't realize I was.
And I had to tell the head of school, it's not my children. They're ready. Please talk to Rodger about it.
I was misinformed.
I felt so bad. Like, don't judge the
misinformed.
kids. Like, and Rodger was like, oh, it's 8:30? Like, it was the most ridiculous thing, you guys. I can't. But anyway, the good news is our kids have to leave now at 7:30, and he's shockingly on time and actually has already gone to Starbucks and come back.
I go to Starbucks,
Really?
come back.
Yeah, he actually goes at
6:45.
6:45.
Like 6:45.
We're up so freaking early. We're up
amazing.
at 5:45, 6 every day at this point.
I'm up early.
It's
And the
awful.
kids are too?
They're the ones waking us up.
I have 2 boys on top of my entire being at 5:45.
Yeah, why have an alarm when you have them?
You guys, this was so much fun. I love talking to you guys.
This was great.
Let's continue it in person if you ever come to LA
they're coming
again.
Are you going to come down soon? No.
We're opening up a ThirdLove office down in LA. So
Are you?
We will have a location down there.
All right, you guys, it was so good to talk to you. This was so much fun.
Bye, you guys.
Thank you.
If you liked what you heard so far, please make sure you're subscribed on Apple Podcasts and give us a rating and review. And please keep listening.
And check us out on our Instagram at works.for.us. Also, tell us your stories, guys. We notice that all of you dedicated listeners have been sharing your own relationship stories in the comments of our Instagram, and we love it.
They are great stories. Thank you for sharing them.
And we want to give you all a chance to share your stories in a way that we can feature them possibly on our show. There's now a Works for Us phone line that you can call to leave us a message with your very own relationship stories. And we're planning to share our favorites on the podcast.
You can also ask us for relationship advice, although I can't stress enough that we are not experts, but we will still take your questions and probably give you the wrong advice.
And I kind of feel like we're experts at this point, kind of, just by default. So if you want to share your story or ask us a question, give us a call at 657-549-2251.
That's 657-549-2251.
You can also find all of our contact information on our Instagram at works.for.us. If the first thing you want to do when you get home is get out of your bra, maybe your bra isn't fitting the way it should. It should feel comfortable and supportive, not like it's a torture device. Comfortable, quality undergarments should be the foundation of every ensemble you create. And that's why I'm so excited to tell you that I now have a partnership with the one and only ThirdLove. I've curated my top drawer must-haves with ThirdLove, and I promise you, whatever occasion you're dressing for, these hand-picked pieces by yours truly will have you covered no matter what. You have to visit thirdlove.com/Zoe to see all my favorite essentials. ThirdLove is changing the game so that you never have to compromise between style and comfort again. They truly obsess over each and every stitch, so you never have to worry about how something feels, looks, or wears. One of my personal comfy favorites out of my ThirdLove curated picks collection is the Form Seamless V-neck wireless bra. It's so light and soft while having the absolute best functionality. The Seamless V-neck wireless bra is completely seamless with a 4-way stretch and an invisible fit, which means your looks will always have clean lines with no undergarment interference. It's also so comfortable that pairing it with your chicest loungewear is an absolute must. And ThirdLove will help you find the perfect fit in a way you never thought possible. Not only do they have half sizes, which is, by the way, revolutionary, but they also offer a virtual fitting room quiz that focuses on your size, breast shape, current fit issues, and your personal style to deliver product recommendations that are perfect just for you. Feeling is believing. Upgrade your top drawer today and get 20% off your first order at thirdlove.com/Zoe. That's 20% off at thirdlove.com/Zoe.
This is Dr. Laurie Santos from the Happiness Lab. Many people have questions about how to improve levels of happiness. Living a healthy lifestyle is one sure way of increasing happiness. And a good place to start is with your oral health. Just a few small changes to your oral care routine such as changing your toothpaste to Colgate Total, can lead to beneficial changes in your oral health. Colgate Total helps stop oral health problems like gingivitis and cavities before they start, because preventing oral health problems is a lot easier than treating them. Be dentist ready and get Colgate Total at shop.colgate.com/total.
Whether it's game day, movie night, or just a busy day, it's always time for Papa Murphy's. And now you can get any medium two-topping pizza for just $6.99. That's right, the whole family can get exactly what they want any day of the week for any occasion. Any toppings, any sauce, only $6.99. Now that's meaty yum. If only everything else in life was like our deal. Order any medium two-topping pizza for just $6.99 at papamurphys.com.
When it comes to travel bags and backpacks, colorful and unique options are hard to come by. Luckily, Baboon to the Moon has you covered. Baboon to the Moon's bags are made for going places near and far, and for making you the brightest star at baggage claim. Made with super durable materials and a limited lifetime warranty, your Baboon to the Moon bag will join you for all of life's missed trains, unexpected rain showers, love at first sights, and compliments. Check them out at baboontothemoon.com. Now get lost and make the world more colorful.